Hello, everyone, and welcome to People of Video Online. This is the final live stream for People of Video. I want to thank everybody for coming and hanging out with us this weekend. It's been an amazing time, and it's not done yet because we have, for the next 2 hours, a wealth of speakers who are going to be joining us to share their insights. This great opportunity to ask questions. If you guys have been watching the presentations, you have a question for a particular speaker, there's a good chance you might see them on this stream. A lot of speakers are going to join us. We're going to do our best to fit them all in, but have those questions ready so we can make sure that all your questions get answered. I'm also going to do my best to live in the comments for this live stream because we have so many amazing speakers. In fact, I'm going to bring them all on screen right now, and Dale is going to help us introduce them all. Here you go, Dale.
What's up?
Judy just came in, so welcome, Judy, as well.
All right. Well, I'm really geared up. By the way, it seems like, Dan, we've been running a marathon here, and we're coming to the end. But this is almost like a fireworks display, a celebration. Here's the grand finale because we brought all of the best of the best. Not that anybody that didn't show up right now aren't all that great, but I'm just going to run around the room right now and just point out a few people. I know most of you guys, and Judi and I kind of know each other. So we're going to start out with Judi Fox. Hopefully, folks have got a chance to catch her presentation through People of Video and her wealth of knowledge in LinkedIn. She was able to actually share some of that also with these other two. Cassandra is right below me here. Cassandra as well was on the LinkedIn. By the way, I was lurking and working, folks. I didn't get to catch the entire thing. I promise to go back and watch it later so you can quiz me then. And then my boy, Ross Brand, he and I actually been texting all stinking day long. I am just geeked up, tickled to death that I actually get to share the screen here with him today. And you know what? I had to save the best for last. My boy, Andrew Can from TubeBuddy. And he is just a spectacular guy. Folks, welcome to the finale of People of Video. And the crowd goes silent.
And we have a fur buddy there.
I know. I'm sorry, y'all. If he's not in my lap, he's going to start barking at neighbors. So sorry, but he's going to have to. He looks like he's enjoying it, but he's being held here. So sorry.
Yeah, my cat made an impromptu appearance on I can't even remember which live stream. One of the live streams last night, maybe. I think it was.
It was last night. It came up and hugged you.
Yes, it did. He did. All right. So yeah, we are on the last live stream. We have a great group here. As you can see, we have 6 technically speakers from the event with presentations on peopleofvideoonline.com. So definitely check those out. I just want to take a moment real quick before we go around and allow the speakers to share their insights. And if they want to share a little bit more in depth about what they do, Dale will help facilitate that. But real quick, really important, we would not be here without our amazing sponsors. So once again, I do want to remind you all that this entire event was sponsored by Prism Live Studio. They are the title sponsor for the event. For those of you who are not familiar with Prism Live Studio, it is a mobile live stream app that allows you to go live through your mobile device and also on desktop, but you can live stream to YouTube without the need for at least 1,000 subscribers. So definitely check it out. It also has a bunch of what I keep referring to as bells and whistles, which are really cool features that allow you to add like motion graphics and things to your live stream just by the push of a button. There's also a contest going on right now out on social media on Facebook and Twitter where you can use the link in the posts to download Prism Live Studio and share a screen print that you've downloaded it and tag your post like it mentions in those posts. So definitely check that out. We're going to be giving away some People of Video gear to one of the lucky people, or a few of the lucky people actually, who participate in that. So definitely do that. And we also want to mention our other sponsors, which have been absolutely instrumental in helping us get here and be able to pull this off. Soundstripe, if you're looking for sound copyright safe sound music for your videos, definitely check out Soundstripe. There are links to all of these sponsors over on People of Video online. And we all know TubeBuddy. We love TubeBuddy. TubeBuddy has been wonderful to the online video community. including sponsoring my channel, Creator Fundamentals, sponsoring People of Video, and anybody who's ever interacted with TubeBuddy. And Andrew Can, who is here in the live stream as well, can attest to what a wonderful group of people they are. Super helpful, and they like I said, it's just 100% support of the online video community. Uscreen is an online platform that allows you to do videos behind a paywall. Basically, you can offer subscription services and things like that. They were a sponsor of People of Video when we were going to meet in person. And lo and behold, things changed. The world kind of threw us a curveball, but we were able to pivot very quickly to an online event by building what we were working on in Albany in an online format on the Uscreen platform. So thank you to all of you for that. Definitely get your questions ready for the speakers in the chat below. And I'm going to hand it off to Dale. He's going to go around and allow each of the speakers to tell us a little bit more about themselves. In fact, if they can also give us some insight in what their favorite part of People of Video was this weekend.
Awesome. Thank you very much. So, man, this has been a packed weekend. And folks, if you've got the replays, you're at least loaded up. You can go back and take even more notes, some deeper dives into some of these things. Everyone from Evan Carmichael over to Andrew Kent, Ross Brand, Judi Fox, myself, Dan, everybody, you can go in and really just learn a lot. But now I want to kind of go around to each one of the speakers, and I'm just going to start from one end and work my way on down to the other. Judi Fox, it's really awesome to be able to share the screen here with you. We met a couple times at, I think, Video Marketing World, and it might have been also at Vid Summit. So tell us a little bit about yourself, and also maybe like one little takeaway that you might have had from People of Video this weekend.
Yeah, so thanks for the hashtag FoxRock. So go follow it on LinkedIn. I am very excited that, anyway, so the little bit about myself, I have what I call my signature program, LinkedIn Business Accelerator, and I will fast track you onto LinkedIn because everyone wants to know their return on investment of their time, and I want to make that worth it. So, and then what did I get from the conference? I really enjoyed the Zoom call. And then from there, that turned into direct messages and conversations that were just kind of happening in the live stream chat. I've been able to go back in and start to comment back and just try to be as engaged as possible. It's not in person, so it's really, really tough. And I know we all feel that, but we're doing the next best thing, which is how much you, Dale and Dan, are keeping up the energy, keeping up the group, keeping up the conversation to continue. So that's very powerful.
Yeah, it's so important. I think a lot of folks, be it if you're experienced video creators or even brand new to the game, don't feel intimidated by somebody else, be the position that they're in. Everybody's extremely accessible, except for Ross. Don't look him in the eyes, unless you take him to sweet tomatoes. You take him to sweet tomatoes, Ross will be, he's like butter. He'll melt in your hands, I'm telling you. Either way, make sure you're reaching out and connecting with people, because that was one of the really cool things. If I were to just spend just the money alone on People of Video, I believe the networking meeting that happened on Friday night was just fantastic. And the roulette that happened, where it just, you randomly were assigned to different rooms. And so there wasn't this weird feeling of an in-person networking event where they're like, well, split up into 5. And then you're like, going over, oh, this table's got 5. Oh, this table's got 5. And then you're kind of lost after a while and you feel exasperated. You go back up to your room and you eat nothing but ice cream. And then, was that just me? That was just me. Never mind. But Cassandra, you're up.
Yeah, so Cassandra Thompson. You can find me on YouTube at Cass Thompson Career Advice and on LinkedIn. I teach people how to build relationships to reach their career goals, and that includes business goals too. So similar to Judi, part of what I do is teaching creative business owners how to get on LinkedIn. They seem scared of the platform, and hopefully after our talk earlier today and Judi's talk, people aren't as scared of coming and joining us over on LinkedIn. But yeah, for me, since I love the meeting people part of conferences, I loved Friday night and getting to see everybody, especially since we didn't get to meet in person. And kudos to Dan for figuring out breakout rooms and putting us in those, because I really, really think that helped. And I agree with Dale. It was just there are very few fun surprises in the world anymore. And it was just really fun to be like, who's going to be in the next room? Like, who's going to pop up on that screen? I'm looking forward to finding ways to incorporate that and things going forward.
You did a fantastic job running the ship there on Friday night. So big kudos to you. You did it like a true pro. It made it feel a lot more comfortable. I think that a lot of introverts are probably kind of scared to hit that button to go into that next room. And they're probably kind of tempted to kind of go, well, maybe I can just deuce out and no one will see me. But it looked like we actually didn't only just retain people, we gained it as we went along. So kudos to you for running the ship and doing such a great job, Cassandra.
Thanks. Dan had a lot to do with that. So gotta give Dan credit on that one too, but happy to help and glad we got to have that part of the conference still.
Yes. All right. Well, hey, Andrew Can, you're up next, buddy. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Any kind of one takeaway that you got from everything this weekend?
Sure. So I am Andrew Can. I'm the head of video production for TubeBuddy. So my job is to make sure that everyone can understand what TubeBuddy can do to help them on their creative process. So my presentation was all about how you can use TubeBuddy from A to Z. And for me, I would say that one of the most fun things was definitely that Friday night kind of networking digitally. I've never seen it done like that, but I also just enjoyed the power and strengths of each presentation. I learned a lot, and anytime I can go to a conference and go, oh yeah, I could definitely do that myself, like that's invaluable. And there were so many of those moments for me. So the presentations are very strong.
Nice. I found out myself. See, I haven't watched yours yet, Andrew, but I will be getting to it, I promise you. But everybody got YouTube Legend for 60 days. I'm like, what's going on here? Like, wow. So definitely don't rest on it, folks.
A/B test.
Legend.
A/B test.
Yeah, the A/B test. There's so many stinking features. We were just talking how I needed to insert a link into my description. And since I have 400 plus videos, I'm not going to painstakingly go through each one of those. I can just go pop, and it just goes through and fixes it all. So Andrew, thank you to you, Phil, and the team at TubeBuddy for that.
Thank you.
Dale, sorry, before we get to Ross, I just have to say, Andrew knows this already, but the feature you just talked about, I have written Phil, I think 4 thank yous on LinkedIn just for that feature, because every time, like this week, I added a new link and went, oh, this is saving me so much time. Like, it's truly, I like the A/B testing, but the find replace is the best feature TubeBuddy has, I think. So.
Absolutely. And hey, by the way, folks, if I'm ever gabbing too long, feel free to cut me off. No one needs to hear any more of me. They've already heard 8 hours of me.
No worries. So Dale, I just want to make sure people are like YouTube Legend. I think Dale meant TubeBuddy Legend, which is our highest level.
I tried to fix something. Cassandra came in and I'm like,
Andrew is a YouTube legend, but he
Nice.
offered TubeBuddy.
yes.
Thank you, Dan.
Yeah, he is a YouTube legend who's offering TubeBuddy Legend. So there we go. Speaking of legends, bottom right-hand corner, my boy, Ross Brand from New York. Boy, man, I was hoping I'd be able to meet up with you this time because last time we saw each other, we had to do the elbow handshake. And yeah, it was awkward.
We got to the last conference before the lockdown, the quarantine.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, right.
But
Yeah, Dan was there as well in Florida. But
we had a blast. It was awesome just being able to meet up with you last time. And then you and I actually got to do a live stream together, and it was just, a fantastic time. And I actually got to see you talk about one of your favorite things, your wheelhouse, live streaming. So that was really cool. So Ross, without any further ado, tell us a little bit about yourself. One little takeaway you got from people video.
sure, I'm with Livestream Universe, and I'm also the host of StreamYard Connect. And for me, I can't believe how great I'm all about like live streaming and connecting with people online and all that stuff, but I can't believe how great the networking and the connections and these live streams in particular have been so much fun. I feel like this is like a replacement, whether I'm watching it in the chat or being on screen here talking with you guys. I feel like this is taking the place of what would have been the, in the hall after conference meetings and lunches and dinners and stuff like that. So I feel like I've met a lot of new people, and I've gotten to get to know people that I've already, been in contact with. I've been able to get to know them better, easy for me to say. And I've also enjoyed some of the presentations. I haven't gone through all of them yet because I've prioritized the live stuff and the networking because, you know, that's what we have a chance to do here in the moment. And I mean, it's been awesome. I'm just so like humbled and excited to be a part of this conference. And I can't wait till next year when we all get together in person.
Yeah, this will be fantastic. I know Dan is allowing me to do it one more year. Hopefully, if we don't get off here and he's like, dude, don't show up. Actually, we're actually having it over in Florida this year. Don't worry about it. It's over at this one motel. It looks kind of seedy, but just go with it. Yeah. So Dan, you know what? Before we do deep dive into everything, man, I'm going to get you and your attention away from things because obviously I want to kind of come back over to you for just a second because we just really haven't even discussed it, even deep dive. What was your inspiration behind putting this all together? Because obviously there are a ton of video conferences out there. Couldn't we just go to those other ones? Why did you want to put this out?
So I will say that there were a lot of different inspirations for people of video. Some of them were a little bit selfish, but one of the things that I see over and over again when talking to people, especially with the current list of conferences, is that most of them happen on the West Coast. And being a little bit selfish New Yorker, I wanted to bring some of that action here to the East Coast and not have to trek across the country to get part of this community and be able to interact with everybody. Ironically, people that I knew who live in New York City and around me, we all met for the first time in Los Angeles. So it just didn't seem right to me. It seemed like there should be a better solution. And the People of Video was formed. Now, it originally had a different name, and I was really trying to understand. I was trying to boil it down into what I really thought was most important. And it was actually a keynote that I watched by Mark Schaefer, who hope he's doing well. He's recovering from coronavirus and he seems to be doing well, but he gave us a keynote, and I think it was at Social Media Marketing World or Vid Summit, Social Media Marketing World. I think it was out in San Diego, and basically talking about the future of marketing and all the iterations that it went to. And it was really about those, personal connections. And that got me thinking. That was really in line with, my belief system and the idea that the human connections, whether you're at a conference like this, those are the things that endure. You can make friends for life, and you can make, business partners and friends and associations, and you don't really know where they're going to lead you. Dale and I met in person, I think in 2017 at Vid Summit. And, we've been friendly and known each other. And then, 3 years later, he was the MC for People of Video until we ended up online. And now we're rocking it out here online. Yes, he is. He's doing a fantastic job, and everybody gets
on my resume.
Yep. But yeah, that was the basic thing, trying to bring the experience that I thought was incredibly valuable of being able to connect with people in person to the East Coast, and then really doubling down on that, calling it the People of Video, because I think of all the things we do, the people are the most important part. And I'm absolutely thrilled that we've been able to recreate as much of that as possible through live streams like this. I intentionally had everybody pre-record their presentations just to minimize the complexity of this, because I wanted to be able to focus on this part of it, which is get the speakers in front of people, do the things like the Zoom meetup that Cassandra has done. I won't mispronounce it again. Has done so well in bringing people together and making people more comfortable with that process. And because there's introverts out there, and myself included, we want to give them a path to feeling more comfortable and interacting with people and getting the most out of it. So thank you, Dale, for that. Now I'm interested, and I'm sure the speakers or the people in the comments want to hear from the speakers as well. So definitely share your questions on Facebook and YouTube. And I'm going to let Dale run the show, and I'm going to do my best in the background to manage the comments. There is one thing I want to say. I've gotten so much feedback from that interaction with the Zoom calls. One of the things that we are setting up in an effort to support people throughout the year with People of Video is the People of Video Society. And I've actually added that to the site. And one of the things we're going to do is monthly Zoom networking calls as an opportunity to interact with people and, give that throughout the year, plus other support, video posts and stuff on how to handle common issues that people face in online video. If you're interested in that, you can find it on People of Video Online now. It is a monthly subscription, so you can try it out and see if it works for you and, get that value and be able to learn how to network with people and grow in online video.
Fantastic. This seems like a perfect time. I'm going to go ahead. I put a call to action over on YouTube. Folks, if you're watching this right now, this is a golden opportunity that you can ask something from a panel of video experts. And so ask anything that maybe you need some clarification on, or maybe you didn't think about in some of the sessions that you would like to kind of get cleared up right now. This would be fantastic. I haven't seen any questions just yet, so I'm going to load everybody up with one question here. So as Dan kind of shared, the element of networking, he's going to start to build this in here. Why is networking so important? And do you think that it makes that much of a difference in your business if you were to say go without or go with? So I'm going to start at one end, work my way down to the other. So Judi, you're first again.
Ooh, the hot seat. I definitely think networking is one of the most powerful things you can do for your business for the long term, because as Dan was mentioning before, you never know when you meet somebody 2017 where you'll be 2019, 2020, 2025, like I'm just whatever into the future. So we don't even know like the relationships that we all see here on the screen, the conversations happening in the comments, the Zoom calls that we had in the breakout rooms. You maybe met somebody for 5 minutes and maybe that conversation will keep going and there's something that could happen 3 years down the road. Like you have to start and plant a seed. And I believe networking is not just reaching out, touching base, and then retreating again. Networking is really actually caring about other people and mixing kind of being memorable with trust building, with relationship building, with being a community member, supporting them, going out of your way to find what videos they're live on and supporting them. And actually not just, hey, look at all the content I'm making, but let me go out in the community and see what other people are making.
Going into a type of relationship like that, should I expect reciprocation, or is that something that it's trust that I have to win over time?
I think it's a bit of both. I think you can have high intention, low expectations. That's the best thing you can hold inside yourself because you keep your power and then you don't get, I don't know what the word is, but hurt when somebody might not reciprocate. You can just say, you know what? I got something out of that. And because they didn't reciprocate, there's no energy loss, if that makes sense. You can just honor it and say high intention, low expectation. I can never expect anybody to show up the way I'm showing up, or I can't expect other people to see things the way I see them in the kind of online world and behaviors. So
yeah, I think this is a great time that I can actually segue over here to Ross. Sorry, I'm going to skip you for just a second, Cassandra. I apologize. Going over here to Ross, one of the nice things is he always has complimented me, and I've actually been a 2-time guest on his show. The reason why he brought me back was because I was just so adamant about promoting my appearances on his show and also connecting
3 times
with him.
3 times.
Three
if
times?
you count the time with your brother.
That's true. I forgot. Yeah, my brother, unfortunately, I was just garnish on the plate on that one there. It was there to look pretty. But, so Ross, can you speak a little bit more about networking and making those connections and also building a little bit of goodwill with the people that you're networking with?
So when I started out live streaming, my focus was just promoting other people. I wasn't really that comfortable promoting myself. I didn't even know, what this was all going to become in the beginning. And so my weekly show was all about highlighting what other live streamers were doing. And then in between, I was doing these updates in which I would go through what people were doing with live streaming, when their show was, if they had a new show, if there was some news related to it. And I mean, the number of times that I was just promoting other people with no expectation, it really helped me grow in a way that I probably wouldn't have if I just went out there and promoted myself. And that then gave me also the sort of the permission, so to speak, to start tagging people on Twitter when I had a show that I wanted to get people to show up for. Now I'm at the point where I wouldn't do that. But in that sort of in-between stage between starting out and getting comfortable with being where you're at and having some built-in audience, I had the ability to reach out to people because I had promoted them so many times, and I got on people's radar. And then after focusing on people, I then started a show called Livestream Deals, in which I gave people a chance to just flat out promote their product. A lot of people were coming on my show to promote their product anyway. So let's be just straightforward about it. This is a product or service that I think would be great for people who are creating content. So that's something that I did for quite a while. But I think there's a lot in that by giving, you actually get a lot back in return. It may not be from the person that you're giving to, but a lot of other people take notice. And now, and not that I kept any kind of mental scoreboard or anything, but over 4 to 5 years of doing this, I kind of know who's generous, who's gonna bring it when they come as a guest, who's gonna just show up to promote their project and then leave and whatever. And it's given me like a really good insight on like who I want to have on my shows going forward and what content to focus on and where there's opportunities for collaboration. So I'd say, if you want to get noticed, the great way to get noticed is promote other people.
Yeah, that's goodwill. It goes a long way. I want to transition over here to Cassandra here. And part of the inspiration behind doing the Friday night event and the networking and connecting with other people, we were actually having, I think, breakfast. It was the one day out in LA. And you had brought up how it's such a struggle for people to get connected and doing some of the networking. Why do you think, or what do you think is the greatest hurdle when it comes to actually meeting people at an event that sometimes is packed with other people just like them?
Oh,
You're muted.
Guys, I keep muting myself because I'm afraid my dog is just going to start barking any minute. So I'm sorry that I keep forgetting to turn it back on. I have live streamed before. I swear this is not my first time. So I think it's two things. I think one, it's people being scared that they're going to look stupid. Hi, y'all. I just look stupid. It's okay. Life moves on. Like, you got to get over that fear, number one. And I think number two, at an event in particular, we all have this weird feeling that you walk into this room and you see these people talking in groups and you go, oh my gosh, everybody knows each other. Everybody knows each other. I'm the only person who came alone. What a moron am I? Why did I do this? How am I supposed to go up to people? And I think we all have to remember they don't all know each other. They're not all best friends. They showed up 10 minutes before you. That's it. Like, that's all it is. Now, sometimes they do know each other. Like, even the other night in the group, you watch people come in and everyone go, oh, hey, what's up? What's up? How's it going? And Dale and Dan know that drives me crazy because it is an intimidating thing. It's intimidating to people when that happens. But I want you to move past that. Find the other people who aren't going, hey, what's up? What's up? And go talk to them. Go say, oh, hi, I don't think we've met yet. Whether it's in person or on a chat, if it's in a Zoom, you can find a person's name and just go, hey, I don't think we've met yet. I'm so-and-so. Where are you from? What do you do? Like, this was the conversation we had that day. Don't let cliques intimidate you. Half the time, they're not actually a clique. They're just people who got there before you. And even if they are a clique, they're not the only people of value at that conference or at that event. There are plenty of other people for you to talk to. I think sometimes we get too fixated on, I have to meet this person or I have to meet those people. That person who sits next to you is just as valuable. In fact, I haven't said this, but Dan, I'm pretty sure you and I met for a whopping 3 minutes at the end of a session at Vid Summit 2018. I don't expect you to remember, but I realized after, I'm like, I think he turned around and introduced himself to me at the end of a session. We just passed each other. We chatted. then we ended up meeting each other online. Like in Facebook groups and stuff. That sounded weird. Sorry. See, you guys, I say dumb things all the time. It's totally fine.
I just want to add. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say to Dale, from now on, every time we see Cassandra in person, we have to be like, hey, what's up?
Please.
I'm so going to do it because actually it was funny at this past Vid Summit where we were standing about in our little clique, which is not really, it's a loose sense of things. It's like Dan, Kelly, myself, and Cassandra's there. And my boy Jeff Eatley's going by with his big expensive camera vlogging it. She's like, why do people do that? I was like, hey, Jeff, come on over here.
I don't even remember saying that, but okay.
Oh, yeah. Cassandra's like, she's like, oh, great. You know this guy. And of course, naturally, I had to introduce. I was like, yeah, she doesn't feel too comfortable with you going around shooting that.
No.
And Jeff is such a charming guy. And of course, I'm sure he warmed up to you real quick.
Yes.
But
yeah, I just think you have to be, well, and that's the thing. You're going to say, you guys, once again, I say dumb things all the time. And I would have no problem telling Jeff, like, oh, I just don't like it because you don't know why I'm in the I don't know I'm in the background of your video on some show, whatever. But he has every right to film at something like Vid Summit too. But I would say our little clique also proves, even if a group looks like a clique, they could be the friendliest people in the world. You just need to walk up to them. I don't think, like, the joke I always make is if you walk up to a group of people and say, hi, I don't know anybody here. Can I join you? We were not going to turn to that person and be like, I'm sorry, you can't sit with us. And on Wednesdays, we wear pink. Like, it's not going to happen. It's going to be fine. Just say hi, and the other people will hopefully take it from there. And I think the same can be true online, since we might not have in-person events for a little while. I think the same is true online. You can say, hey, how's it going? And the conversation can start.
It's much
don't
worse
pitch
in your head
yourself.
than it is in reality.
Right. Don't pitch yourself, as Judi said. Yes.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, don't make it weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
and
right.
I think that goes to, sorry, one last thing that I will truly shut up.
No.
Because I wanted to answer your first question about why is networking important? I think it's because it is what we talked about the other day. Judi said it too. Like, it's relationship building. So you can't pitch immediately. You need to get to know the people. So just a reminder of what we talked about on Friday night. Like, keep getting to know. Don't automatically, say, hey, do you want my product? Hey, can I sell you my course? Get to know each other and see how you can help one another. Now I'll stop talking. I'm going to mute myself again. It'll be great.
You're awesome, Cassandra. I think John C. Maxwell once put it very well in that people don't care what you know until they know that you care. And it's not just some catchy idiom that you get to share with people or put it on your bumper sticker. It's something that really does hold some weight in this world. And speaking of weight in this world, I want to, of course, transition over to the Kevin Bacon of video content creators, Andrew Can. Of course, now it's true. I mean, Andrew
7
knows
degrees
everybody.
of separation.
Yeah, we're in a Starbucks, and just random big YouTuber walks over there, and I'm like, that guy? He's like, kinda. I think he knows me. And I was like, oh Lord, I was like, dude. So yeah, I'm gonna hang out with Andrew Can from now on. But make sure, folks, it is Can. It's not Con. It's Can. So it's just Anyway, we're not gonna go down that path we started on before we went live. And Andrew, let's go ahead and talk about networking. You are definitely a person who
hold that thought for 1 second.
Go ahead.
I just want to let you guys know that we have a couple more speakers that are coming in.
Excellent.
Denise, I'm going to drop myself off and add Denise because she's out there right now. And then looks like Roberto Blake is going to be joining us in a little while as well. So Cassandra, let me know whenever. I know you had to head out early. Just give me a heads up and or just drop off when you're good. And then we'll rotate people in. So
if you need me to head out so Roberto can take my spot, I'm okay with that, y'all. It's fine.
I'm
sure people have more questions for him.
I want it to be your choice, Cassandra. So you stay as long as you want.
Okay, bye, everyone. I can
All right.
Bye.
I'm going to drop myself off here.
Okay, so Andrew, so you've got the question here, but before we do get the question loaded up to you, I want to welcome, of course, to the live chat, Denise Allison. How are you feeling? It's good to have you join us.
Good. I just played Animal Crossing for the 2 hours between our panel and now.
I'm forgetting that you guys just finished out, so you're probably like ready to just get this knocked out and done, right?
No.
Not at all.
Hey, 2
I'm
hours
just getting
is not
warmed up,
easy.
Dale.
I snuggled in bed with my dog and played Animal Crossing, and now here we are. So then I'm going to eat some seafood chowder after.
Fantastic. All right, so Denise, we're going to get to you here in just a moment. I want Andrew Can, of course, he's got the hot seat. Talk a little bit more about the value of networking, because this guy, like I said, has a lot of contacts in the industry, and I imagine that you have some insights on some of the best practices when it comes to networking with other people in this industry.
Sure. I mean, when it comes to networking, a lot of people, they'll go into it, like we said earlier, don't pitch yourself, right? So there's a couple of different kind of people that will come up, and I work at a booth primarily, right? So I'm usually stationed at one area. My whole experience in networking is usually I can't leave, but people will come to me. And especially right now in the current climate, a lot of times people will go out to people because we can't leave, right? So it's actually kind of fitting for the experience we're in. So a lot of times when people come to network, they immediately come in two different things. They'll either, one, try to pitch themselves. And after being at a conference for so many days, if you hear like 1,800 pitches, they all start blending in together. So it's those things where if you come in with good faith, which I think a lot of people forget, is like we are there to meet people. Like we're not here to try to sell you all the time, right? So coming in with good faith could just be introducing yourself organically, even if you don't know anyone. And a lot of the times it's that good faith that leads to a stronger connection. Like I can honestly say I've had the luxury and opportunity to meet almost everyone here in person multiple times, right? So it's the thing is when you understand that people who are especially either a speaker or presentator at an event, they're there to help, but you also have to understand the human side of that is, for example, after Social Media Marketing World in March, I had about like 200 email follow-ups. So what you can do to help yourself stand out in like building a relationship just at the event or past the event really does matter. Because if you're human, right, if you have 200 requests of anything, it's overwhelming. So it's remembering that there is a human you're trying to connect with. And it's as simple as that says, I think one thing that Ross did very well was understand that people enjoy speaking of themselves. And if you give them a platform to that is a more powerful relationship than if Ross is like, well, this is the Ross brand show. You are on Ross's dime. And that's not Ross at all. But if he did that, it wouldn't have been as powerful. And like one thing Dan did very well and what you do very well, Dale, is you build the people up. Is you get to know them not as what they can do for you, but you come in and think, I appreciate this person. I know who they are in a certain capacity. What can I do to help them? And if you go in knowing that I need their help, but I know I can offer them value too, that's a better way for networking than I need your help. What are you going to do to help me? Help me. And it's like, oh, okay. So
All right,
go ahead, Dan.
Just real quick, we're going to bring in Roberto Blake. I'm going to drop off and bring him into the stream, and Dale can do intros. Not that intros are needed.
Go ahead, Andrew. Continue on there, buddy.
Welcome, Roberto Blake.
Hey, Roberto.
Just in final
everybody.
closing thoughts, when you're reaching out, is remember that if they do not get back to you right away, which I've already had a bunch of people reach out already, it's not anything personal. It's just that we may have been reached out to already, and we do want to give you the time you deserve. So always have confidence to reach out, but also don't be too hurt if it takes a little while to get back. That's just the best advice I can give, especially when it comes to networking.
Yeah, personalizing it, that can really it'll put you in a bad mindset after a while. It'll start to kind of spoil your idea of networking. Not everybody's going to return, any kind of communication. Just keep working. There's, millions of fish out in the pond out there. Well, hey, we've had two people just jump right on in. I think this is a perfect time that we kind of do a hard reset because I've seen there's a few other questions. And what perfect time we had Denise Allison join us. And of course, just now, my boy Roberto Blake right below us here. So I'm going to go ahead and just focus on our two guests here and have you both introduce yourselves. So let's start out. Denise, tell us a little bit about yourself and any kind of one key takeaway from this weekend's People of Video conference.
Oh, Jeez, someone should have warned me about this. So I'm Denise Allison. I'm a social media marketing strategist, and I'm from rural Nova Scotia. And I work with small, medium businesses, professional firms, and startups to get them more engagement on social media. My takeaway is I love this, but I miss seeing you face to face. But it is great to be able to do this, and video is the next best thing to seeing people in real life. So I'm glad that we're all here sharing our top video tips. There's so many ways that you can grow your business and your brand with video, and I'm so glad that this conference is covering all the different opportunities for you to do that.
Yep, thank you very much, Denise. I appreciate it. And I'm going to definitely be coming back around to you. I got to say, this next guy here, I was really geeked up to actually be able to introduce him in person. I was going to do a lucha roll onto stage and everything else, because nothing short of fireworks is really good for this guy here. Roberto, dude, got to share a little bit about yourself, and of course, any kind of one key takeaway that you've had from this weekend.
So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Roberto Blake. I'm a creative entrepreneur on YouTube. I talk a lot about the creative process, how to make money, grow your audience, and how to create your content in a realistic way. That's the best way I can pretty much sum it up. The takeaway from this weekend is probably the power of connectivity, the fact that there's a lot you can learn from your peers. A lot of people have this attitude where it's like, I refuse to listen to anybody who's not bigger than me in this way, or somebody who doesn't make more money than me. And I've learned a lot from Andrew. In fact, Andrew knows that whenever I'm trying to like confirm something that I have in my head, that a lot of times I'll bounce an idea off of him, or if I feel that there's a gap between me and the community and I want to work through that process, Andrew's probably one of my first 3 calls whenever that's happening. You know, in terms of live streaming, there's a lot that I think anybody can learn from Ross, and I don't think he needs 1 million followers for somebody to learn from him. I think that people who do video on demand can learn a lot from streamers that might have a smaller following, because streaming is not video on demand. It's radically different. And so no matter how big you are, you might think that you're crushing it because you have a bunch of people from video on demand that just happen to follow you onto your stream. It doesn't make you a good streamer. Ross is a good streamer.
Thank you, Roberto.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Good stuff.
Yeah, there's all kinds of things. Judy like is killing it on LinkedIn. There's a lot to learn there, and I don't think, Denise, have we ever actually met before in real life?
Yes, actually, I was just thinking about when we met, and it's the same day I met Andrew and Dan, and it was Social Media Marketing World last year, 2019, and we went to find those tacos.
Okay, I'm starting to remember this.
In this like sketchy part of San Diego.
Yeah.
And we almost got hit by a car for some reason. And Andrew was our tour guide. And we're like, why are we going this way? He's like, well, I was trying to avoid all the homeless people in that other road. So this is how we all met.
Yeah. So again, I think there's just a lot that everyone can learn from people if they step back and they don't look at follower counts, or they don't try to count what's in people's pockets, and they just make the reasonable assumption that there's a real chance that somebody knows something that I don't.
Well stated. Well stated. And this is so awesome to hear this coming from you, Roberto. It definitely helps to humble yourself and try to learn from as many resources as possible. All right, so folks, they've loaded us up with a lot of questions, and now let's see if Dan can stay on his toes and pop those questions up here. So Thea Sanchez actually asked a very good question, and I'm going to pick a couple of you guys out here to hopefully address this. And if you feel like stepping forward and answering, please do so. She said, I haven't gone through all the video presentations, but I'm wondering, how can we pivot from one niche to another? And so I think this is great time for me to go over to Judi, because I haven't heard from Judi in a while. What is some type of recommendation you can give to us?
Oh, goodness. So I am a classic example of pivoting myself, where I have my degree in chemical engineering, master's in environmental management, and then I have a business sustainability degree, and then transitioned it to LinkedIn and LinkedIn business sales and development. So with all of that journey, I think the number one thing I will always tell people is we think more people are watching us than actually are. So as you pivot, we're like thinking in our heads, oh my gosh, what are they going to think about what I'm doing? And all of a sudden I'm doing this. Literally, you become what you say you are and what you talk about. So the moment I made 10 videos in a row sharing my sales knowledge. And immediately pivoted because I do know a lot about sales. And immediately the world was like, wait, can we hire you to be a sales coach? And I was like, oh, yes, because I do know a lot about it. But that was probably my very first realizing how easy it is. It took 10 videos in a row and I was a sales expert. Like, I know that sounds funny, but you are what people think you're top of mind for, and you create that top of mind awareness.
Fantastic. Andrew, I would love to know your insights on this. What's a good way for someone to pivot from one niche to another?
So I'm going to keep mine a little more YouTube focused because that's kind of my area of expertise. On YouTube, it's a little less easy, but that's just because when people subscribe or follow you on the YouTube platform, they usually tend to want the thing they subscribed for. So I believe it was Roberto Blake who actually said that what I would call switching niches is kind of like a variety channel is kind of dead on the YouTube platform. It's not to say that there isn't there, but I would say that you have the ability to have so many different social platforms. So for so many different things. So you can have your Instagram be separate from what you do on LinkedIn or what you do on YouTube, right? So you have avenues where you can have those different interests, those different niches. So you're asking how can we pivot from one niche to another? It really just kind of on YouTube depends how established is your channel. And can you see yourself discussing that thing on your channel for the next 5-10 years? Because if Dale one day is like, I don't like self-publishing anymore, then Dale's going to have a really hard time on his YouTube channel because that's what he's built up and what he's little known for, right? So if he decides tomorrow it's going to be self-cooking with Dale, that might be a little harder of a pivot. So it's understanding which platform you're on and just kind of the expectations of each platform because they are all different.
I should have put on my LinkedIn hat for when I was answering.
No worries.
So I would have the
Fantastic.
question. I would ask the question maybe while I'm like going through my thought on this. Thea can give us some context because first of all, I would ask which niche you're in and then which niche are you trying to switch to because I would try to contextualize that. I appreciate that Andrew and Judi answered in the broad general way for the audience, but if I was going to speak specifically to Thea, I'd want to know that. My answer for anybody else is there is a method that I've seen work that no one really talks about. And the thing is, if you already have a topic-driven channel, before pivoting to another topic, consider pivoting to becoming a personality-driven channel to begin with. Because the difference between the type of channel that I currently have and have had since the beginning of YouTube is I've not had a personality-driven channel. I've had a topic-driven channel, but I've changed what topics I prioritize and therefore changed which audience I'm growing or prioritizing, sometimes and sometimes inadvertently leave behind another group that I had already nurtured and cultivated if there's not enough crossover. And so that's something that I wish over the 7 years I'd been more thoughtful about and I'd seen it sooner. And it's part of why I came up with the thesis and saw for my own peers that variety channels are dead or dying or have these vulnerabilities. But people who are personalities on YouTube, as you can see, have the ability to do whatever it is that they want seemingly and get views for it because what they've signed up for is the personality and not the interest in the topic, but the interest in the person. So if you start to shift not away from your topic entirely, but start to now put more of the focus on you, while still bridging the gap between that thing and you, and then people are more interested in you, you can either go all in on your personality and then do more types of content if you feel you can have a strong enough presence and personality to pull it off, or you can use that as the bridge to now bring the people that you've been growing that now are coming more for you than the topic. You've shifted the balance to where it's more you than the topic slowly, where you moved it from 80-20 to 50-50 to 80-20 in the opposite direction. Now, if you wanted to, you could get more focused on another topic, but it wouldn't matter if you even pivot from that later if the audience has become more invested in you. Does that make sense when I say it, you guys?
Yeah, that's a great answer.
Okay, fantastic. All right, so we've got some other questions. I think actually Thea Sanchez actually had loaded us up with another one, and I'm just scrolling through because there's a lot of comments. Please, folks, if we miss your question, ask it again. We're going to try to hit it as well. By
the way, Thea, in her case, while you're figuring that out,
yes,
Dale,
please.
Thea, in your case, since you're saying it's your adulting 101, but you want to create and you're creating content about finances and you want to get into investment and lifestyle, thing is, I think you're in a very good position because that's a broad topic category, and you're reaching someone that is in a life stage instead of somebody that's in a subject matter. So make sure you don't position yourself as a financial guru subject matter wise. Just make sure that you're sticking to someone who's in a phase of life, so to speak. Focus on your viewer avatar instead of becoming a subject matter expert.
Well put, well stated. All right, look, Dan's on top of things. He knew I was looking for something. What is a good way to connect with other creators? Should we connect via one platform or connect via whatever platform, aka make another account in IG, LinkedIn, Twitter, Snapchat? Ross, I want to hear from you. You've been awful quiet over there. We need to put that microphone to work.
Sure. Well, I think if you can connect with people through their personal profile on Facebook, Facebook Messenger is a real casual, easy. I know you love it, Dale. I know you're huge on Facebook Messenger. But in general, it's a very easy way once you've connected with somebody on Facebook. You meet somebody at an event. If you talk to them for a while, good chance that if you send them a friend request, you're gonna get accepted, and that opens the door to DM them through a Facebook message. And I think for any type of small ask or working towards a collaboration or something, it's a great way to start the conversation. Whereas coming off of a networking thing, and then maybe you write somebody a more formal email and send it through LinkedIn. You have a greater chance of kind of getting lost with all the other business requests and ads and sales pitches that they're shuffling through. So I think as much as you can sort of blur the lines between sort of friend, colleague, and potential collaborator, the better chance you have of actually making things happen on all those different realms, and the relationship can be whatever it's meant to become. But I find that moving the relationship to Facebook personal profile is like saying you're really in my network now, like more so than following somebody on Twitter or connecting with them on LinkedIn. I will say that Instagram DMs are a great way to catch people's attention because not nearly as many people DM on Instagram, but people spend a lot of time on that platform. And so that can be a way to capture attention and build a relationship.
Yeah, I've personally found a lot of great success through Twitter. I've actually landed some sponsorships and brand deals through Twitter, just having just simple tweets and just get connected that way. It's just a fantastic way of going about things. All right, we got another question here loaded up. This is great. Folks, keep them rolling. We got a lot of great people here. I'm going to make sure to tap into each one of them. If you have a specific question for a specific speaker, please tag them as well. So Adam's question is, people of video, is there some kind of etiquette or procedure to set up a virtual video cup of coffee considering the current environment? All right, Denise, I think that, you know, I was going to come over and pick on you. It's been a minute. I'd love to hear your take on that.
I mean, the etiquette is this: don't connect with someone, like don't send someone a connection request on LinkedIn or whichever platform you're on, and first thing say, oh, I'd love to chat with you over virtual coffee. Like, you want to start building that relationship first. And people are bombarded with these requests. I know I am. And I'm like, okay, well, what's the purpose of this? So take the time to build a relationship, send them a DM of like why you're connecting in the first place. You ask them about themselves, what they're up to, engage with their posts. If they post something interesting, add your point of view, your perspective, or ask some questions. And then once they're like, who is this person? And I want to get to know a little bit more about them. Then you can make the ask. Say, I'd love to get to know you more. You keep popping up in my news feed, and I just would love to learn more about you. Make it really clear why. Make it clear that you're not going to try to sell them something in the call, because I've had people say, I'd love to connect with you over a virtual cup of coffee, even before COVID-19 and all this situation, because I'm out of the way for most people to meet with for coffee. And then they end up trying to sell me something, and I can sniff out a sales pitch a mile away, because they start asking intrusive questions that I was not expecting, beyond like, tell me more about you and what you do. But it's, what are your biggest challenges and what are you trying to accomplish? And these bigger things that I'm like, this is leading to a sales pitch. So if it's for a coffee connection, maybe working out how you might be able to work together or something like that, that's great. Just make sure it's really clear and that you don't overstep that boundary and try to sell. If you want to sell to someone, which make sure that they're the right fit for that, and they're aware that this is going to be a sales call. So that is the etiquette around setting up a cup of coffee. I mean, you want to be friendly and not just kind of fire hose that to everyone, but choosing the people that you've already built a little bit of familiarity with.
Yeah, it could be very awkward when you get connected with somebody. I had a gentleman that got a hold of me the other day, and I'm a sucker for virtual cups of coffee. Sometimes you're like, hey, I love your stuff. And I'm like, me? Yeah. All right, let's talk. And I get on, and I'm like, they're selling me something. I'm like, come on, Dale. You got to do better at vetting this stuff. We got another question. At Roberto Blake, if your demographic is spread over lots of platforms, where would you focus?
So great question, Danny. Before I answer it, though, I want a virtual coffee date with everybody on the panel right now. So there's that.
That's how you do it.
we'll do that. Hopefully people have time this week, and so there we go. I'll
brilliant. Just be at home,
I just need your turnip prices, Denise. That's all I need.
Turnip prices.
Yeah. No, that's does everyone know that joke? Does everyone understand that inside joke?
Animal Crossing.
There you go.
Gotcha.
Okay, so Danny Hatcher asked, what if your demographic is spread across a lot of platforms? This is going to be more true for people reaching a younger demographic, and we have a lot of these platforms that are very interesting right now. TikTok being the upstart platform that people are vetting to decide whether that's worthwhile. You have obviously your main staples being YouTube and Instagram, and then now as some people are realizing that they want to be taken more seriously, a lot of them are also realizing they might want a different presence in LinkedIn. So in terms of putting your focus and priority, I would, or rather the word focus, I would shift to the word priority, and I would look at what is my current priority and what is my current vulnerability or weakness in each platform versus the strength that I have in each platform. I'll give you a primary example. You may not understand the culture of LinkedIn, so making it a priority may be something, it might be a lower tier priority, it might be a tier 3 priority because you need to get used to it and learn it, because you can't immediately execute and go there and get as much traction out of it if you're looking for something. If you want to monetize, YouTube becomes a number 1 priority because of the different monetization options that are available to you. In terms of attention though, and easy exposure, Instagram and TikTok would be a bigger priority, because the thing is, it's longer tail to win in YouTube. But if what you need is distribution, Twitter and LinkedIn win for you right now. If what you need is distribution for content you already have, if you need to amplify the exposure of content you already have through linking out, there's no organic link out penalty in LinkedIn, whereas there is in Facebook. But if you want community and interconnectivity, Facebook and Discord become more of a priority, and maybe Reddit as well. So the thing is, you have to look at, am I trying to make money? Am I trying to get my community to interact with each other? And am I trying to be a uniter? Am I trying to be able to build a tribe and be a tribe builder and be a leader in that way? Or am I trying to be respected and get professional authority and connect with more affluent people, in which case I might want to focus on LinkedIn and also build a Facebook group? Or am I prioritizing trying to have direct one-to-one connection with people, because then I might need to prioritize Twitter or Instagram? So you have to look at what's your priority. Is it communication, connectivity? Is it trying to establish more authority and credibility and be taken more seriously? Is it trying to make money? Do you need to gamify SEO? Because obviously then you want to look at how Google treats different platforms, with them obviously favoring YouTube because it's their own. And so I would look at your priorities to determine focus, because someone who needs to generate more leads has very different priorities from somebody that wants to build more community. Those things aren't mutually exclusive, but you only have so much time and energy and resources to put into things at once. So that's my answer.
Excellent. Fantastic. We've got a few other questions here. I'm just peeking in on Dan really fast to see everything going on here. He looks like he's managing everything. Okay, so Judi needs to cut loose. Judi, thank you very much for joining us today. Any last minute things? Where can people find you and get a hold of you? And any last words you'd like to share?
Yes. So if you do want to get attention in the DMs, I am on LinkedIn DMs. I know Ross is like, you won't find anyone there, but I will send you a GIF of me waving hello, because yes, there are GIFs in the DMs on LinkedIn. I send voice messages. I have a lot of fun over there. So I clear it all out. So it's open to conversation on LinkedIn DMs for me. And I do like the Instagram. So that is nice.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Judi. You've been a true gem. I appreciate
Bye,
it.
Fox.
Bye.
Okay, so we've got a few other questions here. Hopefully Dan will load us up. But in the meantime, I just saw somebody pop in here. It's my brother from another mother, Rob Belisabas. Man, I've known Rob for quite a bit, but I want to go ahead and get him to introduce himself. Hopefully unmutes his microphone. How you feeling, Rob?
Hey, guys. Good to be here. Hey, you can hear me all good? Okay, cool.
Loud and clear, man. So
Nice.
Since you're brand new to the stream here, I want you to, of course, introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself and one key takeaway that you've got from People of Video so far.
Oh, one, that's hard. But yeah, my name is Rob Ellis. I'm the brand evangelist at TubeBuddy. Good to see Andrew here. Good. We're working on a Sunday.
Rob.
So I get the fun job of connecting with a lot of the partners and creators that use TubeBuddy, and then finding fun ways to connect all of them with each other. So awesome to be here. Big thanks to Dan for continuing to put this on in a virtual way. I'm really excited to be here with all of you. My one takeaway, we did a really fun LinkedIn panel this morning, and I would say, there's just so many, but really just understanding your audience, right? So, and that you have different audiences for different channels. So for me, LinkedIn has been my primary place to really build an audience, and then YouTube is fairly much newer. And I'm finding that it's two different audiences. There's some overlap, but there's some different audiences there, which are great. They both need to be served in different ways. And so learning how to do that, speaking to different audiences and different channels in different ways has been really cool to learn from people here.
All right, nice. It's almost like you were listening to what Roberto was just saying, knowing the platform and how to communicate with each one of those. But it's just perfect because it further validates what Roberto was sharing. All right, so we've got another question for Dale. Okay, you spoke about newsletters through services like MailChimp, etc. What frequency would you recommend for sending out newsletters? Monthly, bi-weekly? I'm going to hit a couple people in here because I'm sure there's, I know I'm subscribed to one person in here. So I'm going to go ahead and say my end of things. Only as frequent as your audience is expecting. I will have, mine goes out about 3 to 4 times per week, but they expect that. You don't want to send out emails just for the sake of sending out emails, because then it's just like, like tapping somebody on the shoulder and they turn around and be like, hey, how's it going? What's up? How's it going? They're going to be like, what do you want? Like, what do you want? You need to make sure you're delivering some great value. So when you're doing your email broadcast, don't think about like frequency of like, well, Dale said I should do 3 to 4 times per week. Or I heard somebody say I should do monthly or bi-weekly. Do what your audience is going to expect. But remember that when you're communicating with them, that you have purpose to doing it. Otherwise, you're just tapping somebody on the shoulder and they're going to get annoyed and they're going to stop paying attention to you after a while. All right, I'm subscribed for sure to Roberto's newsletter. So I'm going to hand it off over to Roberto. what is your take on frequency of email campaigns?
So I agree with you largely based on what your audience is expecting, but what they're expecting could also just come down to what you promised. So if you make a promise, then try to deliver on the expectations of that promise. What I find works very well is if you can also commit to going so far as to let them know the time of day that they can expect those emails. So if you say Tuesday mornings, and then you just are scheduling them usually to be around 10 or 10:15 a.m., then that gets people expecting something giddy and looking forward to it, and it makes it a ritual and part of their routine. And it means anybody who had a good experience like that is expecting to have another good experience the following Tuesday around 10:30 a.m. And so delivering on that starts that conditioning and nurturing process of just making people feel good. Anything you do content-wise, you should think about the experience that the other person is having. Anything you do communication-wise, you can think about the experience that the other person is having. I think one of the reasons that all of us went through the trouble to have really overpriced fancy live streaming setups is we wanted people who are watching us to have a good experience, and we wanted to create some of a little bit of the same sense of intimacy of if they were with us in person. So we wanted to do that. So we did everything to make our audio good, make sure that everything looks flattering, and also looks like we put some real effort and thought into being with them. And so that is something you should also think about with your emails, both in terms of the scheduling, the frequency. What I will also say is maybe for people that through your email automations, if you use something like I use ConvertKit, you can actually identify and segment people in your audience that might be saying, you know, I want to be a VIP, or hey, I look at and I do most of your emails and everything like that. You can segment those people, and maybe it's okay to communicate with them more frequently because they've indicated in some way that they'd be all right with that and they have specific needs. And so you can also start giving them a secondary email based on their needs because they identified as this type of person.
Excellent. Very, very good, deep analysis. All right, I'm going to keep Dan on his feet here. I see a question from Barry Bowling over on Facebook. This one's directed to Denise Allison. We're a small media company, always making content for others. We never have time to make content to market ourselves. Aside from sharing our portfolio, what would you recommend to better represent ourselves on social media?
Right. So this is the age-old struggle of a lot of marketers, and it's that children of the cobbler with no shoes, or however that saying goes. And it's really about making time to create your own content. So not a week goes by that I'm not creating videos for myself to share my expertise and connect with my audience. If I don't share videos in a week, it means I'm sick, or I'm like something has gone horribly wrong, because I make it a priority every Monday to record those videos, create the captions for them, create the copy, and get all that ready to go. And I just made that a habit. So it's something that you need to just choose a time where you're going to create it, decide what kind of content you're going to create, whether it's video, whether it's written text, images, whatever it is that you specialize in. You're going to want to share some of that expertise and take that opportunity to connect with your own audience. So sharing a portfolio, I mean, that is great, but that's more something that you're going to send to a lead or potential client. When it comes to social media, you're just going to want to build in that consistency, trust, visibility, and like I said, just making it a priority and not letting the time slip by and say, oops, I didn't do that because I was too busy working on my clients. You really need to work on the business as well as in the business. So choose what's easiest for you to create, that you're most likely to do, what's going to be most effective, and just start doing it and experimenting and seeing what works best without knowing a little bit more detail on it. It's hard to specifically answer, but I'd say you just need to block off the time and make that as important as delivering to your client.
Excellent. Fantastic.
My one other tip to that would be just consider simplifying the format of how you make that content for you that represents you. Like, I think that there's a temptation, especially if you're looking at YouTube content, maybe to be over the top and fancy. And I've found that simplistic videos do just as well. Just make it a good experience.
Fantastic. All right, got another one here. I'm going to hit our two TubeBuddy in-house experts here. I'm going to ask you guys this one, Andrew or Rob, or both. That would be fantastic. Can you change your brand name afterwards on a YouTube channel? Because I'm just starting out and I do not know my clear niche yet.
So
Andrew, go ahead.
So yeah, you can change your brand name. It won't necessarily be your custom URL. I guess that depends on what you mean by brand name. But if you mean the name that is displayed on your channel, absolutely. But depending your size, like if you've already have a custom URL, that's pretty much set in place. And if you are a larger creator and let's say you're verified on the platform, if you change your name, you will lose that verification check mark. So it just really depends. You can change your name. Just keep those things in mind.
Wonderful. Yeah, I can actually attest to the fact that actually I used to go by self-publishing with Dale L. Roberts. And then I discovered after a while, people were just sick of saying it's a full sentence to introduce me. They were like, Lord, like, can you like add a few more, like, let's put a few verbs in here. Is there anything that would be detrimental in having changed the name, Rob?
I think it depends. Like for me, so I actually changed the channel name. It used to be called the Social Media Club, and then I changed it to my personal name. But I didn't change the custom URL. So because it's already been shared in different places and different channels and different, so blog posts and things like that. So I didn't feel like I should change that. But yeah, and it's funny. I see, the more I talk to a lot of bigger YouTubers, they've changed the name on their channel, but the URL still is like some random one that I'm like, why is it that one? It's like, it's because it's what they started with and they didn't change that. So yeah, I think it's fine to change your name. Again, it just depends on, your audience and who you're speaking to. And are you looking to build your brand or your personal profile as well? Like, are you doing business as yourself? Are you looking to build up, for example, the Rob Balasabas brand, or is it like something else that you're building your company brand? Maybe down the road you want to sell your channel or something like that, and you don't want it to be tied to you. There you go, TubeBuddy. So yeah, so that's my thoughts on that, Dale.
There's a good reason why I picked you, because I remember you changing the name of your channel.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that you've had nothing but great growth, and that's big kudos. So it just goes to show Rob Balasabas is money, man.
I would tell you guys to look into a small YouTuber who is, I would say, in my opinion, and this is just my personal opinion, his name is Eric Wen, and I think he's one of the most thoughtful people in creator education, even though he has less than 3,000 subscribers, and I'm going to tell you why. In terms of identifying what you want to do and who you are, and the self-awareness of, I don't know what my niche is, I don't know what I'm good at yet, I don't know who I am, but I know I want to be a creator and I want to express myself and I want to put it out there. He has a lot, because his focus originally was communication. Now he's decided that he specifically wants to help content creators, but he still is using all the skills of the subject matter expert around communication to help content creators become self-aware. So if you want to build a channel and you want to be more personality driven, which by the way is what is being done by the most successful content creators, big and small, then I would recommend you look into Eric Wen's channel. And the reason I bring this up is it ties directly to what you just said, Rob. Like, you can't change your channel URL, but you might change or pivot directions, and you might decide to change your name. I would also tell you to think about what is easy to say, easy to spell, and easy to search for. Just like Dale was mentioning that, all right, a whole sentence to just get my name out. Like, it's like, oh God, how long is that? So there's a such thing as frustration and fatigue when you're typing in something, when you're searching for something, when you're trying to remember how to pronounce or how to spell something. Those are real things. There's also the credibility of just wanting to be in the search engine for your name if people look you up. And you'll find most YouTube content creators, their name or the name of their channel is their most searched thing. So just be aware of that.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a good point. One example is, sorry, Dale, I was going to say, Danny Hatcher just mentioned Content Bug. So Catherine Manning, so really good example. She's moving away from that Content Bug brand, and she's naming it Catherine Manning, like her Instagram and stuff like that. It's all changing. So, but yeah, well said. Go ahead.
It always goes through an evolution. I know that my wife right now is also looking at doing something of a brand pivot and possibly a name change of some sort. But before we do jump into Danny's next question here, Denise it's running out of time for her, and we don't have very much longer with Ross here. So folks, make sure that you thank Denise for showing up. Denise, how can viewers get a hold of you, and any last minute words here for us?
Yeah, the best way to connect with me is on LinkedIn, and that's just looking Denise Allison with 1L. And if you're looking for me on other platforms, at Social Denise is the best way to connect with me. And I'd just like to say a big thank you to Dan for hosting all of this and putting in so much work. Thank you to everyone who has participated in this conference as well. And thank you to everyone who has watched and tuned in and asked questions. So thank you so much for having me on this live chat.
Thanks so much, Denise. We definitely appreciate your time.
All right. See you all soon.
Okay. So as Denise starts to pop, as soon as Denise pops out here, folks, Ross is going to be hanging out with us for just a little bit longer. If you've got specific questions about live streaming or anything in general, like how many times Ross and I went to Sweet Tomatoes in our Orlando trip recently, drop them on over in there. Yeah, boy, we went a lot, didn't we?
We did.
But in any event, we do have another question here. Danny has loaded it up here. Welcome back, Dan. I was missing you, dude.
How's everybody doing?
Yeah, you're like my security blanket. I was starting to feel a little alone over here. But when splitting video focus, Discover, Community, and Sales, should we link Discover videos to Discover to increase overall watch time or others? This is a Tim presentation related. I didn't watch Tim's one, but I will be. Anyone can take this one now. Unfortunately, I can't take heads or tails of the question right now.
Basically, what I think they're asking is in terms of the different types of videos that you make for your YouTube channel, what is the preferred breakdown in terms of videos that you make for your community versus those that have a specific purpose to sell something? And Roberto has his hands up, so let's hear from Roberto.
So this will depend on your priorities and your current goals. If you are, I'll use myself as an example. I'm not necessarily, although people would think, oh, why don't you go for 1 million subscribers or a gold play button? I'm not in the growth game. Ironically, and this is not something I often say publicly, as Andrew knows, we've talked about this. It's hard to say out loud because people don't believe you if I say that I have not actually made growing my channel a priority over the last 7 years, because I would have done it differently if the goal was to grow more. However, I think when you analyze and you look at my channel, I've been thoughtful about how I monetize it. And so if you have monetization as your priority, the balance and the amount of videos you'll make that do that and the ways in which they do that will be very different, and which videos are a priority for that will matter. A primary example would be that if the goal was that you want more YouTube brand deals, then you might make higher polished produced content because that will be more attractive to brands and on the radar of them, and you also will make it very brand friendly. But if you want to be looked at by certain communities, then there are things you would do for some of those communities that make you feel more legitimate to them that might not be as advertiser friendly. Not to mention those people will be averse to sponsorship plugs, direct sales and stuff like that, but they'll be more into merchandise plays. Or if you do brand deals, you'll have to do it with brands that they relate to more, and that might be more spectacle based and are things that, primary example, the G Fuels, the Seat Geeks, the Dollar Shave Clubs, people that will let you play a little bit more fast and loose. So there's that. There's also just the element of how much realistic time you have to be invested in community. Somebody with a family has more demands on their time than someone who doesn't. And that's something real for many of the creators here that are watching, and even many people on this panel. So the thing is, you can be very into and prioritize community and community-driven videos if you also know you have the time to respond to comments, be in Discord, be in Twitter, DM people, make people feel special without taking away from, or if you don't have a family. If you have children, you're always prioritizing giving 30 minutes to your community instead of an hour more to your child, and that's a really serious thing to make right size in your life, as they say. So like, this is not a formula or percentage thing. This is a self-awareness thing, and that's why I wanted to take this question, is because being a content creator is a lifestyle, but you have to also understand what that means for you. None of us can tell you what makes YouTube right size in your life. You're going to have to figure it out. All we can do is challenge you to be thoughtful about it.
Awesome. We have Rob.
Yeah, I love that answer from Roberto. Your priority with what you're doing with your channel or your videos. For what I do with TubeBuddy, me and Andrew are sort of part of the same coin, just different sides of the same coin. Is that Andrew does a lot of pre-recorded content, tutorials. So you guys see 100% of the content that's on the TubeBuddy channel is Andrew, which is amazing. He does a great job at it. With the content that I'm creating for TubeBuddy is a lot of collaborations, because what I'm doing is I'm looking to build community with our users, yes, but also with our different partners, and leverage sharing their content and their expertise with the bigger community that is TubeBuddy. So you'll see a lot of the content that I create is interviews, shining light on Roberto and Ross and everyone that's really on this in this conference speaking, because that's what I want to do. That's sort of my mission, is to build community and to grow those relationships. And so there's a lot of live streaming happening. So Ross is a big part of that as well. I love that answer from Roberto. Is that what is your priority? What do you want to do? And you got to make sure you have your goal in mind and then build the content around that.
Okay, we got another great question coming up here from Urban Explorer. This is to all the panel, and you know what? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pick out somebody, because Ross, you've been awful quiet over there. I've been missing been missing your voice. To all the panel, what comment are you pinning in your comment section? Sub, playlist, or link to another video? So Ross, what's your take on that?
I don't know what the best one to do is, but I always, or at least recently, I've started linking to whatever is a recent hot topic video that's doing well. And I try and, that's related to the video I created. I find a recent video that's doing well and is a fairly hot topic amongst people who would be interested in the content on my channel. And then I put that at the top of the description and at the top of my pinned comments.
Fantastic. I know for me, and let me go ahead and weigh in here on this one. This is one of my favorite ones to kind of cover here. Whenever I'm pinning a comment, I try to think about what is the most relevant to the specific topic that I have that has also performed well in one of two avenues, in longer watch time, or higher CPM. And that comes from the fact that I want to, of course, increase more revenue by way of YouTube. That's just my personal goal. You don't necessarily have to do that yourself, but to me, I try to find the most relevant thing to send people to. But in the same instance, I don't always just go watch this and then leave a link there. I try to be very specific, ask a couple of questions, because then hopefully you can get engagement. And hey, while we're at it, why don't you go check out XYZ? I typically will find a video within a playlist. I grab the ugly URL from inside the playlist. I put it into there, whether it's a link shortener or I just put it in as an ugly URL and it gets truncated. But either way, I put it on in there and I pin that puppy there. Every now and then, I might go through and change that pin post. So for instance, if something has changed, let's say, I'm just going to use my own niche here. If something changes as policies over at Amazon, I will probably go through, pin a different comment to drive people to a newer video. So Andrew, I'd love to hear from you on this one.
I think it kind of goes similar to the similar question that Danny had. It's all based on intentionality, right? Like, what is that you want to get from that pinned comment? And if it's trying to grow subscribers, then obviously that subscriber link makes the most sense. What I found to work, not only on my own channel, but for a lot of the channels I help operate, is if you can give them similar interests, as you were mentioning, both of you, is you want to try to keep it relative to topic, right? So like if this is a video about Dale doing self-publishing and then Dale's like, you know what, I really like that cooking channel I had no idea I wanted to do until this live, then maybe he shouldn't link out to his cooking channel. But I know that for you, for example, Neil, you do a lot of van life content. So like if you're doing a video all about modifications to the vans, then maybe you would link to a playlist all about modifications because that makes sense on that particular video. But let's say you're doing a thing where you go on an adventure, right? You're urban exploring, as in your name, like you're going to a cool location. Then maybe you can that would make more sense to put a subscribe list, like saying, hey, would you like to see more amazing locations like this and have a say in them? Subscribe. So it really just depends what you want to get out with the link you pin.
Excellent. Roberto's a ninja at this. I've been consuming his stuff for like the last few years now, and so I'm always taking notes watching it. So I'd love to hear what your take is on this one, Roberto.
So what I do, and this is because we established that for me, there are two really big priorities, which is engagement and then also revenue. And I make no secret that I'm a very revenue driven creator as a creative entrepreneur. And so there's nothing wrong with that as long as you make it relate to the thing that is valuable to the audience. And the way I do it is I start the pinned comment with a one-line question of the day, which is usually iterated at the end of my videos. So I use question of the day, and you can see that I drive engagement. There are people with literally 1 million subscribers that get less comments on a video with 10 times the views that I get. So I have a massive engagement ratio, and that massive engagement ratio actually is very attractive to the sponsors because they see that. And there are systems and tools they use to audit that. And while I may not have the highest grade in sub to view ratios, I dwarf people in engagement. And that is a leading factor for also getting people to convert sales. Because if I can keep conversation going and get people to interact, it's more likely that I can also get them to click links. Whereas other creators can get the macro attention of views. That's exposure. Exposure isn't the same thing as sales. So the thing is, I'm a conversion king, as TubeBuddy can testify to. It's like, I really want you guys in the affiliate dashboard. You don't have to tell like everyone's numbers. I just want a leaderboard. I just want a leaderboard. I just want ranking. I just want ranking. I just want that. That's the only clout I care about is I want sales rankings. Like, forget YouTube rankings. I want sales rankings. But to finish this off, what I will say is, there are videos that are community focused though. And in a community focused video, like something maybe where it's a motivation thing or a more vulnerable thing, I link instead to something that I think is either a helpful resource or a video of mine or even a video of somebody else's that I think is valuable, or something that might be for the community, like linking out to, say, my Discord so that people can be together. And so that is, you have to, again, align a pinned comment with the priority you have, with the priority the community has, and you should make sure that those things are in alignment so that it doesn't feel like there's a big disconnect.
Excellent. All right, we've got one of our panelists here. He needs to skedaddle, so now it's I'm sad to see you go, Ross, but I'm sure you and I will connect in real life. You've got my phone number. So Ross, how can viewers get a hold of you, and you have any last minute words to share with our audience?
Sure. If you like live streaming, check me out on Livestream Universe on Facebook. If you like recorded videos, doing a lot more of those nowadays on YouTube. You can find me at Livestream Universe on YouTube or connect with me anywhere on social.
Yes.
And Dan, thank you so much. This was an amazing conference. Dale, you've been rocking it as the host. TubeBuddy, of course, we love TubeBuddy. Roberto, thank you for all your insights throughout the conference. Always learning from you. So thanks, everybody. It's been a blast.
Thanks, Ross.
That's Ross.
Thanks, Ross.
All right. There was a question that was buried deep back here, and we've had some excellent ones coming up here, and I lost it. Okay, here we go. This one comes from 6 Round Studio. So much great information for building a brand and growing a business. As a retired engineer and craftsman, my interest is sharing knowledge and skill for the joy of it. Does this change the discussion? Dan, you've been quiet. I'm bringing it back up to the forefront. It's time for you to answer.
I mean, I think it really has to do, because we're talking about building a brand and growing a business. I think it's even better that you are doing it for the joy of it, because if the idea of growing a business around it is part of the equation for you, you can still do that without changing your mindset. This is actually a conversation that I have with people all the time. They are the idea of growing a business and being creative are not mutually exclusive. So you can do both. You can actually build a business around what it is that you're doing creatively without interfering with that. In fact, I would even argue that if you do it right, building that business around what you enjoy creatively gives you additional resources to maybe take that creativity even further. So I don't think it changes, at least from my approach, the way that I try to communicate to people and the discussions I have. It doesn't change. It wouldn't change it at all, just because I am a firm believer and I want people to build the best life around what it is that they're doing. I don't want them to rebuild their crappy job. So if that's the path you're on, you may want to reconsider that, because what's the point of going into business for ourselves and living life on our own terms if we're doing so in a way that just reconstructs what we're trying to get away from?
That makes so much sense. And Roberto, you just popped in just a great nugget. I want you to go ahead and expand on it. If you do what you love, you will never want to retire. I'd love to hear from you on this one.
Yeah, I have a video that I'm actually planning to film. I don't know when I'll release it because I'm actually 5 videos ahead now, but as far as recording, not editing, dear God, no. But I bring this up because there's a lot of conversations, and right now a lot of people have anxiety about work and their job, and we talk a lot about lifestyle. And one of the things I want to point out is that if you're doing what you love, you'll never want to retire. I was talking with a friend of mine about this just the other day, and I'm like, I don't want to retire. What is with all these people? They're talking about, that entrepreneurs and people in hustle culture, you want to, like, why would you work to death for the rest of your life? I'm like, okay, let's understand that what you might be doing that you hate, I quit that job already. I'm doing what I love, and I built something that I love and that I'm in and that I'm invested in. And so why would I ever retire from that? You would never tell an artist, you would never tell a painter that, you shouldn't want to paint until the day you die. You would never tell a writer, you shouldn't want to write until the day you die. Like a musician's fantasy is literally to be 96 years old, have a heart attack on stage, and have their body crowd surfed to the funeral home. That is that's like, it's a morbid joke, but for real, like, why, if you are doing what you love, why wouldn't you do it until the day you can't anymore? Like, realistically. And the thing is, if that's the thing, and people will want to say, well, not everyone can do that. It's like, why not? And we're not talking about everyone. We're talking about you. Like, people hold up everyone as the ultimate straw man, and I will beat it like a piñata the next time anyone does it. I'm going to say, we're not talking about everyone. We're talking about you. Don't hold straw man up to me. I will beat them like a piñata. The scarecrow doesn't live here.
Well stated. Well stated.
Because we have brains. We have brains. We'll use them.
Someone needs to clip the crowd surf to the funeral. That was
yeah.
That's my favorite quote. If I'm gonna say one takeaway, that's my favorite one so far.
Yeah, super morbid joke, but I think it applies.
The funny thing is, actually, it's so I was in the business of professional wrestling, and I've known a few people that have actually died in ring, and it's very horrific for the people that actually are in the event. But all wrestlers know, all the boys in the locker room almost always don't feel too much remorse or regret for that person because they died doing what they love. They literally are like, I'm doing something that I'm very passionate about, and it sucks to say, but in the same instance, that person wanted to go that way. So I don't look at it too morbid. All right, we got a great one here from Waste Warrior Woman. People, a video question. When do you register your company name in the business? Is it once you get the first income from the YouTube account? I know, Andrew, you'd be a great one to go ahead and lean on. You've worked with a number of brands and businesses with YouTube. What's your take on this one?
So this should be done, in my opinion, before you ever create content, like deciding, do you want a company name or an individual kind of aspect? Because having like a legit, honest company, you have a couple of legal steps outside of just YouTube, right? Like if you want to run a business, you need to decide, do I want to do like an LLC or something in a different space? So I'd say before you even create that channel or you decide that you want to do YouTube, you really need to know that first. Now, if you know you want to eventually grow a business, then start with that. But if what your focus is just a personal channel, a personal brand, like for example, Roberto Blake is a personal brand, but also his business is the Awesome Creator Academy, create something awesome today, right? TubeBuddy is a brand, but Andrew Can, me, the person, is a personal channel. So it just really depends. If you want to go on it as a brand, there are some more things you need to do. But if you start as a brand, that at least gives you a clear idea of how you're talking to the audience, what the expectation is from your channel, and then 2, that is what you plan to have and build up, and maybe you're just associated with the brand, right? So it just really depends in that case.
All right, I just want to break in here real quick, and we have another speaker joining us. So I want to invite in Vanessa Lau. Welcome to the live stream. So good to see you.
Hey everyone!
Welcome, Vanessa.
Hey, Vanessa.
Oh my God, it's Vanessa. Like I have to fanboy a little bit. Vanessa has been one of my favorite channels since she was like less than like maybe 10,000, 20,000 subscribers. I think is the first time I started watching her stuff. Like you guys definitely, if you do not know who Vanessa is, you have to.
Aw, thank you, Roberto. And like your constant encouragement, I used to like, I mean, I still fangirl. I was like, oh my gosh, Roberto Blake mentioned me. I'm so happy and feel so honored. But thanks for having me here, guys. Super excited to be here.
For those in the audience who may not be familiar with you, can you let everybody know a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I'm a YouTuber like everyone else here. My channel primarily focuses a lot on coaching, Instagram, social media. I also am a business coach for other coaches who might want to grow their socials and get more clients using Instagram specifically. And I haven't been around YouTube for that long. It's been just a year and a half since I started my channel. So yeah, that's basically me in a summary.
And you definitely need to check out her presentation because while she's being humble, only been in the YouTube game for a year and a half, Vanessa shares some pretty amazing results in that year and a half that I think anybody who is joining the YouTube space would be extremely proud and satisfied with. So, if you guys have any questions for any of the speakers, definitely tag at People of Video in the chat. And Vanessa, real quick, you shared that brief. I want everybody to go watch your full presentation, but let everybody know what you were able to accomplish, basically what your presentation is about.
Yeah, so my presentation here on People of Video was all about not just my journey of how I was able to grow my channel to 100,000 subscribers plus in just a year, but it was also focused on how I was able to build a 6-figure business at the same time. And as we see, my business, since starting it and everything, it's close to 7 figures now, which is mind-blowing. And so in this presentation, I'm going to share some tips of how I was able to grow my channel, first of all, and the specific strategies that I use that maybe other people might not have talked about before, or maybe a different lens that you can see how you can grow your YouTube channel. But I also talk a lot about monetization as well. And I share the story of how I was able to monetize the audience and the traffic that I was getting, what I was selling, and the different ways that you can do that as well.
Awesome. Fantastic. So definitely check that out unless you're not interested in making 6 and 7 figures and you don't want to grow your YouTube channel. Otherwise, that might not be for you, but it's great to have you here. It's great to have all the speakers here as well. This is the final live stream for People of Video. It's hard to believe this event that I've been planning for over a year, that we had to pivot in the last 2 months to an online event, and just excited for the way that it turned out and the feedback we're getting. I actually saw Vanessa, somebody who actually was sharing snippets from your presentation out there on social media. So definitely a ton of value added. So I'm going to hand over the conversation leading to Dale, and I'm going to jump back in the comments like I was doing and try to pick out some more questions. So help me out by tagging at People of Video in the comments, and I'm going to scroll through and do my best to grab them and have the speakers share their thoughts on them.
As if, Vanessa, you probably didn't get it. By the way, I'm Dale. It's good to meet you, Vanessa. I have to bring to your attention, it's so funny that Dan and I, of course, correspond through text every now and then. When he said that I got Vanessa Lau, I was like, oh, cool. I tell my wife, she's like, what? She all of a sudden became super happy that we were going up to Albany, New York. And it was just like, that's fantastic. So I have not used my phone the entire times we've been live. In fact, sorry, Dan, I just saw your text here to me. This was one of the times I had to text her back inside the bedroom and saying, Vanessa Lau's on right now.
That's so cool. That's amazing. I was really looking forward to meeting all of you guys in person this year too. Maybe next year, right, Dan?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And by the way, that was an awesome segue and I appreciate it. One of the things I want to do for everybody for next year, I've actually put a bundle of sorts up on People of Video online. You can buy next year's ticket along with this year's replays, next year's replays, and entry for a year into the People of Video Society, all in one big bundle, heavily discounted. It's on the site now. So if you're interested in attending next year and seeing amazing speakers like Vanessa Lau in person, then definitely head over to peopleofvideoonline.com and grab that, because prices will go up. Trying to give as much of a discount as possible for everybody who's attending this year. And my goodness, I am dying to get everybody in the same city together. So I think we've all had enough of it, what I affectionately refer to as distant socializing. But yeah, it will be fantastic when we can actually all get together. I see Kelly Roberts in the chat now.
Wait, running out.
Kelly Roberts. There's a good picture of Kelly and Dale. Love your content. Awesome. Nice. Great to see. All right. And I'm going to continue to scroll through. I know I saw some questions.
Okay. I've got one here. Actually, I can probably get Vanessa and I can get Roberto on this one here. And this is a great one. Actually, Roberto was specifically tagged, but I would love to hear from both of them because I'm sure they have memberships on their channels. Should I offer membership deals just under 5,000 subs, or should I wait until a larger audience? It's been released to me. My demographic is U.S. men 45 to 60. Vanessa, I'd like to hear you weigh in on this first.
Ladies first.
Yeah, I think that there isn't a number of subscribers that is the green light to ever sell something or offer something. Even for me, when I had less than 1,000 subscribers, I already had people wanting to learn from me outside of just my YouTube channel. They asked me, do you have coaching? Do you have a course that you could offer me? And so I don't think that you need to wait for a magical number, because that magical number simply doesn't exist. And I think that if you have people that you can help at a more premium level already than you already do on your channel, why not? And I think 5,000 subscribers is a really impressive amount to start.
Yeah. Awesome. Just real quick, Andrew has to run. I want to thank Andrew for coming and spending time with us. And of course, pass my thank yous over to TubeBuddy. You guys have always been great to me and People of Video, so I really appreciate it. And definitely check out Andrew's presentation. Thanks so much, Andrew.
Thank you so much, Dan. Thank you so much, everyone. I can't wait till the next People of Video so we can all meet in person. Everyone have a great rest of this live.
See you, Andrew.
Take care.
So I agree 100% with everything Vanessa said. I'm going to give some specific context to the person asking this question, plus a little more general of a thing. I agree. There's no set number for offering anything that you want to sell. Nothing. Now, there is necessarily with reaching out for paid sponsorship for people doing that. But if you want to sell directly to your audience, it's about giving them the option to buy. And the main thing is to not come off as salesy or aggressive or pushy, because what a lot of people are worried about with wanting to wait to get bigger, I know, is they don't want to feel like a sellout and they don't want this to hinder the momentum of growth of their community. That all comes down to being very practical and self-aware about where you place your offers in your video, in your description, how you mention it, and the fact that it has to feel like a no pressure opportunity. And the key word there is opportunity. It is not that you have to buy and you have to support me. It's that I made something with you in mind and it's on the table. And so it's then up to the individual to decide whether or not that's for them. And the thing is, the vocal people who don't want to be sold to shouldn't keep other people from having an opportunity to buy something that they want. The people who window shop in Walmart have nothing to do with the people who came to buy, a new comforter. So I think it's fine to have that audience that's, hey, I'm just here for the free stuff, and still at the same time allow people who want to be part of a collective. And in your case, and specifically Adventures in Dirt, 45 to 60-year-old men is a very specific niche demographic in YouTube that is not the larger, broader YouTube population. So maybe you need to look at the fact that the broader macro culture of YouTube and how people behave doesn't apply to your audience, because they are a different community and they're a community onto themselves who uses the platform differently and have different expectations. So as long as you respect the culture of your community, I think that you'll be fine, as long as you always think about that when you are, presenting anything that they can buy and any offer you want to make.
Yeah, I have something to add to that too when it comes to memberships and just being specific and making sure you're not making a common mistake that I see some content creators doing is not knowing how to communicate the difference of support your membership offers versus your YouTube channel. Because some people might see that and say, well, then what's the difference? Why do I have to pay $20, $50 a month if I can just watch you for free on YouTube? You, as the content creator, as the product creator, as whoever, you need to be crystal clear on how you're communicating the value difference, the different tiers that you're going to offer, and why the membership is worth paying the 20, 50, 60, 90, 100 bucks. Doesn't matter what the dollar amount is, but people need to understand what is the difference. Do they get more? Do they get a one-on-one attention from you? Do they get an FAQ from you versus your YouTube channel, which is just one way of communicating? Really think about that too, on how you're going to communicate that to people so that they can see the value of paying you $20, $50, $60 for your membership.
Awesome.
Nice. Excellent. I've got one question here, and I'm going to have to send somebody off, but I want to keep him on frame because I think this is perfect, and then I'll hand it off over to Roberto because this question is for Roberto, but I want to ask Rob first. So Rob's getting ready to bail here, folks, so he's going to answer one more question. In your video, Roberto, you said one of the ways to make money is creating a course. What is the best platform to create a course? Oddly enough, Rob and I met through one of those course creation platforms. And I want to hear you weigh in on it now that you're outside of that influence and such. What would you say is the best platform to create a course?
Sorry, I thought you were asking Roberto.
No,
I'm asking Rob first.
Okay. Well, yeah. So if you guys don't know, I used to work at a company called Thinkific, one of the platforms out there. Good question. To be honest, even when I was at Thinkific, my answer was always like, Thinkific is not always going to be the answer for you. There's a lot of options out there. There's WordPress plugin options, there's Kajabi, Teachable, there's all these other options. And even if you speak to, the people at the very top of Thinkific, we might not be, that might not be the fit for you, for what you're looking for. You're looking for a specific thing, or you're looking to offer your funnels in a specific way or put your offers out there in a specific way. But yeah, test all of them out, look at what you need. Right. So if you're looking to build a membership versus a one-off course, if you're looking to do a lot of live streaming inside of your course, like live workshops, then you got to look at all the different platforms. What's the integrations? All those things. They all have pros and cons. For me, my course, yes, my course I still have is on Thinkific, of course. But if you're out there, if you're kind of evaluating, look at the different platforms and see what works for you. I've seen some really interesting ways that people have created courses, using private Facebook groups and simple landing pages and things like that. But yeah, I think if you guys want a really good answer, I think Roberto has that. We used to work with Roberto. I used to work with Roberto back there, and he knows all of the platforms inside and out. So, but yeah, Dale, good question. Thank you.
Excellent.
It's a good one to end off on for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Before I pass this off over here to Roberto,
Sure.
I want to, of course, Rob. He's getting ready to bail. Rob, how can viewers get a hold of you? And do you have any last-minute tips for anybody?
Yeah. You can get a hold of me anything on the TubeBuddy, at TubeBuddy, anywhere. I'm one of the people behind the scenes there, so you can reach me there. You can look me up on Instagram or my Facebook group or my YouTube channel as well. Just copy and paste my name. I've got a really long last name. So just copy and paste my name anywhere, you'll find me. Then, yeah, I'd be happy to answer any questions you guys have. And before I go, big thanks to Dan. Again, really excited to see how you pulled this off online. But, as much as I love it, I'd love to see you guys all in Albany next year. So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Thanks,
much,
Rob.
Bye, Rob.
Awesome.
Hi, Rob.
Thanks, guys. See you guys later. Take care.
Okay, so the question was originally addressed to you, Roberto. So what is your take on it? What is the best platform to create a course?
Well, I believe both Vanessa and I use Kajabi. Is that right, Vanessa? You use Kajabi as well. Sean Cannell uses Kajabi. Sunny Lenarduzzi uses Thinkific. Tim Schmoyer uses Thinkific. My friend Pat Flynn uses Teachable. Graham Stephan uses Teachable. And I think you have to also decide what's the ecosystem of your brand. Me and Vanessa I think Kajabi partly because of the membership qualities and the things that go along with that, but also the fact that it's an all-in-one. Now, in terms of integrations, I think that Teachable might technically have some of the most seamless integrations out of all of them. I think that if you only are going to sell courses, that in terms of pricing, Teachable is the cheapest and most affordable option. I think for an all-in-one solution, that more Kajabi. I think that Thinkific is really great if what you really want is to seamlessly make this look like part of your own website that you already have that exists. I don't like WordPress as much, even though people can do that, for the simple reason of the fact that you'll have to keep updating plugins, you'll have a lot of things, and you'll be personally responsible for security. So I always believe in going outside for that. I also think that if you're not ready to directly sell a possible high value product to your audience, you should also just consider making content in a similar fashion to YouTube, but it cannot be duplicate content, and just putting it on Skillshare and getting paid streaming royalties on that, similar to Spotify. I did a rough calculation, and I think that I technically, if I got the same amount of views technically that I get on YouTube, I think I technically would stand to make 6 times as much per view, based on a rough calculation I was able to do with some data that I pulled. So there's a lot of pros and cons to this. You just really have to look at what do you want to offer, what's the user experience you want for your audience. Consider buying the cheapest product and course you can from someone who sells using each of these platforms, and go through the user experience of their course and see if that's the user experience you want your customers to have. And in terms of support, I love Kajabi's customer support. Thinkific does a great job for the community, and they do great with support, and so does Teachable. So regardless of which one of the 3 major platforms you choose, I think you're going to get the right support. It's just a matter of what's your budget, what's the experience you want your viewers or consumers to have, and what fits your needs, and what fits the scale of where you see your business going. I always advocate for Kajabi because if you want a more robust business with multiple streams of income because you want memberships, they're getting ready to put something in a position for people who want to do one-on-one coaching calls. I know you don't do the one-on-one calls anymore, Vanessa. I'm a big fan of still doing one-on-one calls. So like if you want to do one-on-one calls, I think that works out really well. And then even for digital products that aren't a course, they're getting ready to make some more templates that are geared toward that if you want to do template bundles the way that I do. So for versatility, I like Kajabi, but it's the more expensive option, and that might not be something you're ready to do. And if you want the most affordable option, I would go with Teachable. But if customization to your existing brand is your #1 priority and you want it to look and be part of your current website and integrate, Thinkific.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. I know that Dan and I both used Thinkific. My wife, oddly enough, this was one that wasn't thrown into the mix. She used Gumroad, and she used it to ridiculous success. She didn't want to have that learning curve of trying to go through a Kajabi or a Thinkific, because as soon as she looked at Thinkific, she was like, "Screw this, I'm out."
Yeah.
All right.
If all you sell is digital products, I would also recommend Sellfy. Peter McKinnon makes a killing on Sellfy, and that's where his Lightroom presets and his sound effects packs are. His sound effects like that kind of stuff. Like that's in Sellfy, and it's super cheap.
Yeah, I think what's important is yes, figuring out where you want to host your course is, a good checklist thing to have, but it's probably one of the not as important, focus on the content and how you're positioning your course, because it doesn't matter if you're spending $500 a month on Kajabi or $300 a month on Kajabi, but if your course doesn't speak to your audience, doesn't actually have a framework or a process to get someone results, or your marketing for the course isn't on point, it doesn't matter what platform you choose. I've taken amazing courses that were just access to a Google Drive.
Yeah.
Literally, I have taken a course. I have paid money for a course that was just on a Google Drive. I got access to one link and one link only, and then a Facebook group. And that was the course experience. And I got so much value from it because the course was good. And because through the marketing and the sales and how that person was offering and positioning and saying what type of result I was getting, it was super clear that it was perfect for me. That's what made me buy my course. People do not buy the features or all the little things that you have.
The things we think are important are not important.
They buy because of the benefits. When you're looking at the features and the benefits, the difference between a rookie entrepreneur is the person that's going to walk in and talk about, there's going to be this many calls and it's going to be on this platform and that. People don't buy that. People buy into things because of the result that you're going to give them, the benefits, the transformation that they're going to receive from being in your program, then being able to look at that sales page or look at your content or look at whatever and be like, oh my gosh, that is for me. Like that is exactly what I'm going through. If you don't have any of those things checked off, it doesn't matter if you're doing Thinkific, Teachable, Kajabi, whatever. You can Google the ones that fit your budget, have the benefits that you want or whatever, but it's the actual promotion, the way you position and the content that is going to be the reason why you're going to make money.
1,000%. You know, my operations manager obsesses over your marketing, Vanessa. She like loves you. Like, yeah, Andy, she's like, she loves your stuff like so much. And you're 1,000% right. And if you guys want one of the best examples of marketing and packaging your brand, your product, your offerings, look to Vanessa. You could also look to my friend Pat Flynn. Pat Flynn is one of my personal heroes. I've actually recently, started really trying to tell that story too, because like Pat changed my life. Pat inspired so much of what I do, and he's become a very good friend over the years. And if you guys really want to look at people who are tops at what they do, look at what Vanessa's doing and how she markets and positions herself. Look at what Dan did with People of Video and how he's able to pivot in the chaos of the current crisis and still make this a wonderful experience for all of us. And so really he's not even using an expensive thing like Easy Webinar to pull this off. He's using StreamYard, which is such an amazing thing. StreamYard has finally been brought into the limelight by this crisis. Really look at the value of what you have. And Vanessa's right. It doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't have to be over the top. There have been so many great simple solutions that I've bought from like a Weeble page and a PayPal download. I'm not even joking. So yeah, you guys can do this.
And just one last thing, guys, is like you can always upgrade. Like I can't imagine, like I used to start off with like MailChimp, then I like moved on to ConvertKit, and then now I'm on ActiveCampaign. But when I started my business, I was like, ActiveCampaign, I could not afford ActiveCampaign. Right? And it's the same with your course. Like who's to say that your beta program for your course can't be something that is just on Google Drive or a Facebook group, and then you go into the Facebook group and drop all the lessons there. And
Facebook group is about to let you directly do transactions and get paid now. By
that's
the way.
super cool. I didn't know that. And then you just take that content and then take the money that you made from the course and then invest it into a Kajabi or a Teachable and then put the content there. Like
that's exactly what I did. I just took PayPal. I took PayPal payments and then I moved to Kajabi when the PayPal payments added up to the price.
Brilliant proof of concept. Then you're not having to go ass out on an investment that you probably couldn't afford, and then come to find out there's nobody gonna buy. So yeah. All right, we're getting towards like the last 4 to 5 minutes. I know that if we go into another question, this might be a dangerous territory. Dan, how are you feeling, man?
I am feeling great. I am absolutely thrilled at what we were able to pull off with People of Video. There were so many people that really helped along the way. Natalie Lynn, who helped me behind the scenes to really get everything moving along, from sponsors to the changing the website halfway through, all these different things that we did. My family, who was certainly supportive of the boxes upon boxes of stuff like this that was piled in the living room and other places, and the trips we had to make to storage and all the different things that went in to this to make it happen. Dale, when we had the conversation months ago, it was, hey, do you want to speak at People of Video? Hey, do you want to? It was actually, we were sitting at the table, I think, with Cassandra, right, when we solidified you as the MC for People of Video. So, yeah, I mean, it's just amazing that we've come so far in the past year. And not only that, but to plan for 10 months and then have to pivot in the last 2 months to take everything we've done and pull it off online. Having done one live stream on StreamYard prior to this particular event was an adjustment as well. But yeah, I mean, it's been absolutely amazing, and I'm looking at the notes in the chat here, but I'm thrilled. I can't believe we're literally 3 minutes away from the last live stream, and still a lot to do. I can't wait to reach out to everybody who participated in the giveaways that we were doing out there. Definitely share your experience on social media. There's still a ton of content out there. I'm really impressed if you've gotten through it all by now. You do have access for the next 30 days with that ticket to People of Video. Plus, you have the option of doing the replays for a full year. And as I mentioned, I threw that bundle out there so you can grab your tickets now for next year's Chapter's People of Video 2021 in person in Albany, New York. I will definitely be here. I'm going to do my best to get all of these people back and live in Albany, New York as well. And you're going to get the replays for this year, the replays for next year, a year of the People of Video Society, which is going to include that networking style that we did to kick off People of Video on a monthly basis to help you make connections, make human connections with people out there in the online video space. It's a great way to grow. And I'm going to kick it to each of you for your final thoughts. I can't think of a better way to wrap up People of Video Online 2020 than with Roberto and Vanessa. They have been awesome, and the entrepreneurs to the max, and exactly the kind of people you want to emulate if you're looking to grow a business and build a brand with online video. So I'm going to give it to you, Dale, first for your final closing thoughts. We'll pass it off to Vanessa and Roberto as well. And take it away, Dale.
Dude, it's been fantastic. I'm just blown away because I remember reaching out to you originally when you were putting together this People of Video thing, and I was getting you introduced to other influencers, and then I was just like, hey, why don't you have me talk? And you were like, yeah. And I'm like, oh crap, I didn't think he was going to be taking me seriously. So it just kind of goes to show one of the things that I just really want to circle back around to is something we were talking about in networking. And if I had not built that relationship with Dan over a few years ago, I don't think I would be in this position that I am. So never take for granted the people that you meet at these conferences, whether online or in person. That's my final words. If you want to reach out to me, you can always find me at selfpublishingwithdale.com. It's definitely been a pleasure to be able to share the same space here amongst Vanessa Lau, Roberto Blake, Eddie Garrison, Ross Brand, of course, and a host of others. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Roberto?
I'm going to go last.
Okay. Vanessa?
Well, I hope that everyone here learned so much from all of these experts at People of Video. And I just want to say, a year and a half ago, I was looking at Roberto Blake's videos or Dan's videos and just like all these other people that you see here. And I was in the same position as you, like attending events like this, wanting to soak up all the information on how to grow my YouTube channel, how to, be a creator. And a year and a half later, like I'm literally on the screen right beside Roberto Blake, and we're like talked about in the same sentence. And so I just want to say, like, if it's possible for me to still be able to achieve on YouTube with video and putting myself out there on social media, you can do it as well. It's not ever too late. It took me so long. It took me like 10 years to actually finally do YouTube. And when I finally did, it took a little bit of elbow grease, but I made it. And so there is so much more room up at the top. And I don't even think I'm at the top yet. Like, there's just so much more room and there's so much space for everyone to be able to succeed with video. You just have to make sure that everything that you're learning today, you take it to heart and you implement it. Action, persistence, patience, all these key ingredients that's going to make you successful. It's never too competitive and it's never too saturated. And I think that I'm living proof of that, to be able a year later to literally be here at People of Video. And so really, really, guys, like, if there was one key thing that you took away from this conference, take action on it this month. Do it. While everything is still fresh, and look at the replays, study it, because everything that you need to be successful has been shared with you today at People of Video.
Awesome. And Roberto, take us away.
There are 8 billion humans on planet Earth. And as somebody who actually now as an entrepreneur hires people and has hired freelancers for years, one of the things I can tell you is that when you're looking to invest money in somebody, there's not saturation when it comes to quality. There's not saturation when it comes to consistency. There's not saturation when it comes to good character. So even with 8 billion people in the world, not all of them meet your needs and not all of them are going to deliver for you. And that's true for every consumer and every employer and every content creator, for this simple reason. If you think that YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, any of these things is too saturated and you missed the boat because you weren't first, you have to just check yourself and realize that's a lack of self-esteem and a lack of confidence telling you that. Because the thing is, when you look at the people who are successful in the top, for as many people are playing the game, There's only a handful of people there in there playing at the highest level. And you have to look at the gap, not in terms of what they have that you don't, but in terms of what they produced and what that takes. And if you can do likewise in terms of the results that you can produce, in terms of what you make, not what you got out of it, not what you siphoned out of it in the form of attention or the form of money, but really looking at, did I make a quality piece of content? Did I make a quality product? Did I create a quality experience for other human beings? When you look at that, and then who are you really making content for? There are so many of you that are chasing numbers, and for all the rhetoric of quality over quantity, no one seems to believe that. Even the biggest creators, even personal friends of mine, like, don't seem to actually honor the idea of quality over quantity when it comes to their follower counts. They only say it romantically as artist, but if they really believed it, it's reflected in, well, why are you so upset or disappointed when you don't get this many views or this many likes, versus look at the quality of the people that are here following you and engaging with you. Look at the quality of these comments. Look at this qualitative audience who says this was made for me and for people like me. You have to look at are you going to look at those people and say, well, I'm sorry, you're not enough attention for me, and so that means what I did was less valuable because I didn't get the attention I was looking for? Like, think about that. Think about the real relationship you want to build with an audience. And I'm here to tell you, if no one else has told you, it's okay if making content for people like you means that you never get more than 10,000 followers, 10,000 subscribers, 10,000 views. Because by the way, the top is so thin that if you have 10,000 subscribers in YouTube, I'm here to tell you that you're at the top 10% of all creators. Most people quit before they ever get there. I'm here to tell you that if you make over 100 videos, congratulations. Most people quit well before that. I'm here to tell you that Marquez Brownlee, who has 10 million subscribers now, made 100 videos, and he only got 74 subscribers. He was a small YouTuber. He was at YouTube at the very beginning. He's been on YouTube for a decade. He didn't start growing until 2013. So he was a small YouTuber for a very long time, despite being on this platform for almost well over a decade, because he started in the early days of YouTube. Mr. Beast has been a small YouTuber longer than he's been a big YouTuber, and he's one of the biggest, most relevant creators. Mr. Beast first 100 videos netted him less than 1,000 subscribers. It netted him 780 subscribers. PewDiePie is the biggest YouTuber with 100,000 subscribers. His first 100 videos netted him a whopping 2,500 subscribers. A lot of you are getting discouraged, and you're 20 or 30 or 50 videos in, and your 20 or 30, 50 videos have produced more of a following for you than some of the biggest creators of all time. It has never been a better time to be a content creator. Stop romanticizing the past and the opportunities of first mover advantage. You couldn't be first. That has nothing to do with the fact that you can't be the best. You could just be the best. And you just have to be willing to close the gap between what you're able to produce in terms of a result. And by the way, a result is what you make, not how people feel about it.
Awesome. Thank you, Roberto. And I want to say again, thank you to everybody who has tuned in to our live streams and for attending People of Video. It's time to plan for 2021. Thank you so much. Thank you, Roberto. Thank you, Vanessa. Hopefully I will see all of you in person at People of Video 2021. Take care, everybody. Good night.